Cyclic meditation is a series of postures along with breathing and awareness that is stimulating for the body and also deeply relaxing. This series, Cyclic Meditation, was developed by S. Vyasa Yoga University in India. And research that has been done on this practice actually shows that by doing this exercise for deep rest, it is equivalent to 6 hours of sleep or even more. So, cyclic meditation, of course, we know already that it is a practice for deep relaxation. But why the term cyclic? So, just as in nature, we see cycles of action and rest, so too must we honor the same principle within our own bodies. So, in our day, and especially in a situation like this, where emotions are very high, there's a lot of tension, could be in the home, our schedules are very hectic. We are now starting to adjust to the reality of all of the situations at home. Learning how to properly rest the body is extremely important. So, this cyclic meditation is a slow and conscious meditation in movement. And this is actually going beyond just a simple rest of the body. And you'll see a little bit later the huge benefits that this entire practice has in calming down our entire nervous system. In ancient yogic science, I had said this before, and I'll mention it again because it's very important. It is said that all diseases start in the mind. And this happens because of the inability to slow down the speed of the mind. So, of course, in spirituality, the lot of awareness and things that we've been hearing over time, everything that we think has a direct impact on our body. So, if you can imagine that your mind is working nonstop, you are not giving the body any chance to calm down in a meaningful way. That means that when you go to rest, you're not actually truly resting. And it is said that when we really can master slowing down the mind in our practice, then we give the body the greatest opportunity for healing. So, cyclic meditation. Where did this come from, and how do these same principles that I just spoke of apply? Cyclic meditation, this entire practice series, was taken from a sacred text called the Mandukya Upanishad. And I'm going to walk you through the prayer, and we'll explore what this means in our practice together. So, the first line of this practice says, we must stimulate and awaken our sleeping mind. And in Sanskrit, this is layet sambho dhayet chittam. Layet means sleeping mind, sambho dhayet means to awaken, and chittam means the mind. So, in our practice, when we stimulate the body, it's important for us to notice what is happening in the mind because thoughts might come up, and it's important that we look at what's happening and see if we can slowly calm the thoughts that are happening in the mind. We'll see this as the prayer continues. So we start with stimulate and awaken the sleeping mind. Then, calm the mind of all distractions. Vikshiptam shamayet punaha. Vikshipta means distractions. Shamayet means time. And punaha means again. So calm the mind of the distractions that will come up in the practice that comes up time and time again. Continuing on. Recognize the innate stagnations. So in our practice, we might see that when we wake up the mind, when we have movement in the body, there could be some inner resistance that comes up that stops us from being truly calm in the practice. So it's important for us to recognize the stagnations or these blocks coming up within our practice. Saka shayam vijaniyat. Saka shayam is distractions, and vijaniyat is to recognize. Then, the ultimate goal of this entire practice is to stay in total steadiness without any wavering or distractions. Sama praptam nacha layet. Sama praptam means to be quiet, and cha layet means to quiet the movements or the shaking that's happening in the mind. So, why does this matter in our practice? In spiritual science, yogic tradition, it is said there are two main issues that come up in our spiritual practice. One is that the mind is inactive. So, this means we are suffering with dullness, inability to want to move, an inability to want to work with the body or even change things within the body that we know will help us to maintain our health and overall well being. So, in this state of inertia, this is also known as tamas. When the mind is held in a state of not wanting to move or challenge anything happening within us. The other issue in sadhana is that our mind is completely hyperactive. So we are taking images, perceptions, things that we are seeing all day in our lives, and this is constantly playing in our psyche over and over again. Again, I had said that it's important for us to recognize what is happening when the mind and the body are not connected. So, when the mind is inactive, and then what's happening when the mind is overstimulated and not allowing the body to rest. This is where tapping into the witness or bringing ourselves into a deep meditative state in this practice could make all the difference. So it's important for us in this entire series to tap into the witness. And again, I had said this is a moving meditation. So, in the same way, in meditation, where we tap into the witness to look at what's happening, it's important to also do this in this practice. So, we can ask ourselves, what is stress? Because inevitably, when we're working with the body, there might be some stress. And what is restfulness? That will also come in the practice. So, when this stress is coming up, observe what's happening in the mind, and we ask ourselves in these moments, is what I'm thinking truly beneficial to the body in this moment? And am I really making the most out of this practice in this moment? And then you ask yourself, am I really appreciating restfulness and this feeling of allowing the entire nervous system to completely calm down? So here we are coming into the witness for the most benefit for our body. But we must witness in a space of silence, just like we do in meditation. So again, calming these waves in the mind and then working on staying in this place of steadiness within. It must be done in a field of no judgment. So this practice is not about how bendy we could be, or I have to move this body in a particular way, or it's not a goal to reach in physical asana here, but we are staying with our bodies and meeting them exactly where they are. So meeting our bodies in a place of no judgment. That in itself is healing and will help us heal even more in this practice. And of course, it must be done in a pure space of witnessing. So, no tainting of the mind, no judgments towards your own body, and in a space of total peace within your own self. So, I want us to really explore the benefit of saying this prayer, because all of these practices and keys to keep in mind were built out of this beautiful prayer. So let's say this together. I will say one line and you can repeat. This will set the tone for our entire practice. Let's begin. Laye sambhodaye chittam. Laye sambhodaye chittam. Vikshiptam shamayet punaha. Vikshiptam shamayet punaha. Sakashaya vijaniyat. Sakashaya vijaniyat. Samapraptam na chalayet. Samapraptam na chalayet. So this is the main prayer for this practice, what this entire thing was built on, and saying this before every time you begin this practice is also nourishing for our being. In this practice, we will also be using the sacred sound of Om. As we'll see when we begin to demonstrate in just a little bit, we use the different sounds of A, U, and Ma. What this is doing is in our bodies, this is creating a total resonance in each of our cells. And of course, we know that sound also has deep vibrational healing abilities for the body. Taking it a little bit deeper, the reason why we tap into the sound of Om is the primordial sound of the entire universe, which means it contains the entire universe in itself. And as you can see here, when we tap into the ah sound, you can try it yourself, we feel the vibrations in the entire lower area of the body. So we're sending healing energy to this lower area. And the syllable has to do with the creative energies of the universe. And again, in the lower area, this has to do with creativity, procreation, creating comes out of this area. So when we tap into we feel this vibration happening in the lower. Then, when we move to oo, this taps into the sustaining power of the universe. And when we say ooh, we can feel the vibration happening in our chest. And of course, our lungs sustain us, our heart sustains us as well. And here we are tapping into the sustaining energy of the universe when we are tapping into this sound. Then, in the sound, this has to do with the dissolving powers of the universe and our powers to break down the mental perceptions that we have built. That we feel the vibrations in our entire mental faculty, and it is the sound. And then the silence after the om is very critical. This is that fourth state, or that state of total silence, where we feel in total, complete connection with the divine. In spiritual science, it is also said that the sound has to do with the waking state, in the state where we perceive and pick up everything happening in the outer world. The oo has to do with the dream state. The is involved in the deep sleep state where we go into the state of deep peace. Guruji's been talking about this. And then the silence after is the fourth state, that Turiya state, which is the entire embodiment of the divine. So when we are saying the Om sound in our practice, and we are breaking it up in this way, it is not just a simple sound for the sake of repeating. It is because we are tapping into the entire powers of the universe and incorporating that into our healing. So I've spoken a lot about the principles of cyclic meditation, how it came to be, and now I want to speak about the benefits of this practice. So, a huge benefit, and I had mentioned this in the beginning, is that the scientific research shows that even by doing 35 minutes of this sequence is equivalent to 6 hours of complete rest. So this is a deeper rest than you get than, let's say, napping in the day. This is deeper rest than you get than doing a full, complete rotation of asanas and just simply lying down in shavasana. This is a deeper rest because in the practice, we are bringing our oxygen levels down to such a level that it allows the body to relax in a complete way. And of course, you'll see this as we explain the sequence of exercises in a little bit. Another huge benefit is that we have heard that people that have practiced cyclic meditation in the day have seen huge benefits in sleeping in the following night. So this works on a brain pattern called the slow wave sleep pattern in our brains, which helps us rest very deeply when we actually sleep. other benefits is that it really helps with issues like insomnia, anxiety, and depression, because again, we're putting a complete wave of peace into our nervous system. It helps increase memory. And those that practice this in the day and continue with their activities see a complete improvement in cognitive function. So, when I say this, I think of all of those who are at home and your lifestyles have completely changed in this period. Doing this practice once a day can help you with tasks that you need to do to sustain your household or your families or even work that are continuing throughout the day. So I encourage everyone to watch this again and do this practice every day. Even when I was studying this in the university, it was mandatory that we do this practice, and it can even be done a little bit after having lunch. Okay? It is important, and it's something interesting for us to note, that when we are doing this practice, we are creating different points of awareness in the body. And of course, this is excellent because we understand that we must do everything with awareness. So, can you imagine the kind of benefits that we have by focusing on these points of awareness while we move the body? The first one is pointed awareness. And this happens when a particular body part is in one direction, which you'll see in a little bit. This is pointed awareness in the practice. The next is linear awareness. And this happens when we are lying down completely just onto one side of the body, and we will feel all the pressure points on the body being activated. The next is surface awareness. And when we go into periods of rest throughout the practice, which I'll explain in a little bit, we have surface awareness when we are lying down completely. Finally, when we are doing these chantings, the ah, u, ma, the full om, and also the Brahmari vibration, which again, I'll bring up in a little bit, we feel a complete vibrational energy all the way down to our cells. So this is 3D awareness. So this is not as simple as simply moving the body, but every time we do this, we are bringing ourselves into a deeper state of having more awareness of what is happening with the body. Finally, in the explanation, there are 5 major keys to make this practice extremely effective. The first is that we keep a single thought in the mind. So, whatever has happened in the morning, whatever is to happen in the afternoon, all of your tasks, here we simply put this out of our minds. And we do this because we want this experience to be totally conscious. So, a complete experience with meeting your body with your full attention. So, this is what is meant by single thought. The second main key is that this practice is to be done with slowness. So, this is not a rush to finish each asana as fast as possible because, we'll, be able to rest the body faster and to do more things. No. The key is to do this with slowness. That way, you are getting the maximum benefit of every single posture. Then, we must do this with wakefulness. So, an excitement to be practicing, and again, staying in total awareness of everything that is happening. No dullness in the mind, and no distractions. The fourth key is this must be effortless. If we began this session today by holding ourselves in such a huge field of healing, we must trust that we can tap into this space to make this practice effortless. This is not stressful. This is meant to be totally healing for the body. And then finally, it must be expansive. So, of course, when we come into that space of witnessing, we must be able to hold the entire body in our awareness.